Play.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time it is in the world, wherever you are. Well, I can tell you where Rafael Nadal is right now. He is out of the Australian Open after yesterday's match against Mackenzie McDonald, losing in straight sets. Of course, that only tells half of the story. Mackenzie was unbelievable for the first set and a half and was certainly pushing Rafa, arguably pushing him to the injury that he ended up incurring on his hip. Let me know what you think in the live chat. What is the short to mid-term to long-term future for Rafa? Do you expect to see him back fit and firing fairly soon? I suspect he'll be out for a few weeks and he may well even miss Dubai. Let's see if he plays Indian Wells. If he's not fit and healthy, though, he must, of course, rest up and make sure he's ready and in good shape for the clay court season, which will be about beginning of April. I think that has to be his priority right now. But let me know your thoughts in the live chat. Of course, he lost, as I say, in straight sets to Mackenzie McDonald. Let's bring up a little image of him crashing out of the Australian Open in straight sets. He was in trouble anyway from the first game, which he was broken in. He then goes, I think, a double breakdown. He gets one of those breaks back before eventually losing the first set 6-4. No time to panic yet, but Jack raised the red flag of concern on our live stream last night after he goes down an early break in the second. He gets the break back, though. He's now on serve. However, towards the end of that second set, he gets broken again and most significantly ends up incurring a hip injury, which ends up meaning he's hampered throughout the third set and even the latter stages of the second, barely moving for balls, etc., etc. In fact, he's just creaming winners off his serve, off his forehand, and occasionally on the backhand side. But Mackenzie prevails, and he goes through, and he will play Nishioka in the third round. We've got quite a few exciting third round matches, by the way, to look forward to. Swiatek, by the way, and Pegula, they won in straight sets, as you can see. Swiatek having few troubles beating Osorio, and Pegula, the same with Sasnovic, although she did get pushed to a second set tie break. There's that Rafa Nadal result that we can see. But already at the end of the second set, he was already in quite a bit of trouble. But nevertheless, he was severely hampered in that third set with a hip injury. Coco Gauff, by the way, prevailed against Emma Raducanu in arguably one of the matches of the day, at least eagerly anticipated beforehand. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat on this clash. I know that myself, Mario, and Damien were glued to this, along with Isabel this morning. The four of us really watching this match to its conclusion. Coco was easily, I would say, the best player in the first set. The second set was much tighter. Gauff breaks. Raducanu breaks back. But Gauff was really on the front foot throughout the tiebreak, but there were issues for her. I remember at least one service game when she was broken, when there were double faults and the forehand loose. Is Coco Gauff's game good enough to take her to the Australian Open title? My predictions says not, but let's see how that pans out. We've got Michael here in the live chat. It's not surprising that Nadal lost. He's becoming a beating stick to the Americans, and he's lost 10 of his last 12 matches. Indeed, he has. I do think that it was a slight surprise to see him lose at this stage, and of course, he was severely hampered in the third set. I think it's unlikely that we would have been quite so comfortable for McDonald. But who knows? We're speculating on stuff what we don't know about. What we do know is that he is out and McDonald is through. Just like Coco Gauff on the women's side. There were some other great matches again yesterday as well. Tsitsipas Hijikata, though, wasn't one of them. He won in straight sets, 6-3, 6-love, 6-2. Very little to talk about there. Probably, I think it was the first match of the day on Margaret Court. That was a really exciting match between Shnaider and Sakkari. Sakkari in a spot of bother there, managing, though, to get the break in the second set, decisively so, to win that 7-5 before prevailing 6-3. How far do you see Sakkari going? I still see a few chinks in the armor in terms of an actual title success. Other chinks in the armor were possibly exposed in the Felix Auger-Aliassime match against Molchan. He was 2 sets to love down, but eventually prevailed 3 sets to 2. Are we optimistic about Felix? Is this a good sign of mental toughness, or are we concerned about his form in those first 2 sets? Madison Keys winning in straight sets as well. Just like Daniel Medvedev, John Millman, by the way, really it was all about the first set. The first set, there were breaks galore, left, right, and center. Medvedev would eke out an advantage before Millman would break back, and that was continuous until Medvedev won 7-5 in the Battle of the M's on Margaret Court Arena. But Medvedev ultimately winning in 3 sets, 6-2, 6-2. Those final 2 sets panned out. So it was pretty comfortable for Daniil. The last match of the day, the one that was keeping us all up, if you like, both in Melbourne and here in Germany, was Muchova against Collins. This was sensational. I think it was a really high level from both. Couple of maybe unforced errors, too many on both sides of the net. Arguably a little bit surprising to see that ended up being pretty much even between the two as they edge towards the 50 unforced errors mark. I would probably say I would expect it from Collins, but maybe less so from Muchova. But it was certainly an exciting match. None more so because Muchova eked out a double break advantage in the first set, but she couldn't hold on to that. Collins broke back, and you knew once she got the first break, there was a danger of the second because Collins was a constant threat on Muchova's serve throughout the match. And in fact, she broke her serve 4 times in a row at the end of the first set and the beginning of the second. But crucially, she may have done so 4 times in a row, but she actually then had a terrible tiebreak, losing 7-1. So if you follow, she's 5-2 down. She gets it back to 6-all, having a double break. She then also ekes out a very early on, ekes out, it's not the right word. She gets an early advantage in the second set, but she's already lost that first set because she had a terrible tiebreak in which she garnered just 1 point. However, going into the third set, I had Daniel Collins as favourite. Collins breaks. Muchova breaks back. Now it's nip and tuck. There's threats on both serve. However, they get to the tiebreak. Collins winning that with an early advantage, really 10-6, and she never really ceased it. And in fact, at one point, at 7-3, she drops her racket thinking she's lost. Not so. She can't believe it. And that would maybe disrupt many players, to be fair, having thought you've won the match, but you haven't, because it actually goes to 10, of course, in the deciding set tiebreaker. But she manages to close it out 10-6 to the disappointment of her Czech opponent. But Collins goes through, last year's finalist. Let's go back to the live chat. I'm sure I've missed a few comments here. The players in the locker room have no fear or respect for Nadal. You may well be right, Michael, but they still fear Novak Djokovic, and especially in Melbourne, where, of course, he's won 9 times. I have him going all the way to lift the title. I don't know about you, Michael, or other people. What are our thoughts, by the way, on Daniel Collins and Muchova, also Sakkari as well, and maybe even Daniel Medvedev, some of the matches I've just touched upon. Let's have a look at some other matches, and then I'll return to the live chat. Kvitova crashing out. Is that a surprise against Kalinina? Not so sure. Sinner marches on through in straight sets, as do Tiafoe and Khachanov, albeit Khachanov had to do it in 4 sets. And that match, by the way, included a 70-shot rally, this match between Khachanov and Kubler. A lot of fun was had there. And Kubler won the point with a net cord, which is quite cool. But nevertheless, Khachanov prevailed. And now we have a battle of the US Open semi-finalists, Khachanov and Tiafoe in round 3. Tiafoe winning in less than 2 hours, by the way, over Shang, the qualifier. So we've got the 2 US Open semi-finalists, Tiafoe, Khachanov, collision course round 3. I have Tiafoe as the slight favourite in that, but do you agree? Okay. What's going on now into other matches elsewhere on other courts? Raducanu winning in straight sets, extremely easy, kind of under the radar at the moment. Kokkinakis and Fognini had to return to the court yesterday, having had the rain delay from the previous day, and Kokkinakis won all 5 points that he needed to knock out the Italian in straight sets. And Kokkinakis will be playing Andy Murray last on, I believe, on Rod Laver, but I could be wrong on that court, but whatever, it's last on, and you can catch it live with us tomorrow morning at around about 10:30 a.m. Central European time, 9:30 a.m. GMT. We'll have some commentary for you on that. Talking of commentaries to come, we're going to have 2 commentaries for you tonight on the channel. So please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new, so you don't miss out on all things tennis. Tonight we'll be covering The early part in Melbourne, including Davidovich Fokina's match, and also including Shelby Rogers in her match against Sabalenka. They're the two matches we'll concentrate on at the beginning of the evening, before then having a break, if you don't mind, for a few hours before we return tomorrow with the Scottish sensation that is Andy Murray against Thanasi Kokkinakis, the home favourite. How do you see that match panning out? Andreescu, in terms of her match panning out, she had a match point, didn't take it, paid the price, lost in 3 sets to Buxa. Let's go back to the live chat to see if what else I've been missing. Tiafoe to play Medvedev, you think? So Tiafoe to beat Khachanov is your prediction, Michael. I think he will, and you obviously have Medvedev getting to the quarterfinals because that is where they will meet up. By the way, we now have super chats on the channel. Thank you to Jane for her super chat contributions over the last couple of days. Much appreciated by me, but also by Mario and Damien, who've been taking us through the night at various stages. We all appreciate it because it means we can continue giving you content like this on the channel. How far do you who do you have winning between Tiafoe and Medvedev, by the way, Michael? Will you be guys around for Rune Cressy? I don't think we will, Jane. No, that's not the plan at the moment. I think we'll be having a few hours off so we can get a bit more sleep and give it one last push for Kokkinakis against Murray. How do you see that Rune Cressy match going, by the way, Jane? By the way, if we do it, make sure you hit the notification bell because you'll get a notification on your phone or on your laptop that says we're going to be covering it. But I think because of the timing, Jane, it's on around about midnight or even 1 a.m. Your time in New York, and our time, it'll be on around about 6 a.m. as well. Can Rune bring it to Nole in Australia? Maybe. That's a potential quarterfinal, of course, but a bit of work for Rune to do today against Cressy. See how he gets on today, tonight, tomorrow. Don't know what time it is, wherever you are. So Michael has Medvedev, by the way, prevailing in that match. We will rest up. Cressy is a tripwire indeed. And thank you, Dee, for your donation here. Thank you, Dee. Keep up the good work. We will do our best. Thanks for that, by the way. We are loving it that we're having so much love coming from you in the chat, and hopefully we're repaying you with this content. Jane, by the way, saying she'd like to say Rune would get through, but Cressy has been breaking my brackets for a while now. That's why you call him a tripwire, I guess. Let's go back to some of the results, though, from yesterday. Kostyuk prevailing in straight sets. I've already spoken about Daniel Collins, by the way, but feel free to get in the live chat regarding that match against Mukova that she had, because that was a blockbuster. Krejcikova, I have her in my final, by the way. She beat the Burel qualifier, or the qualifier named Burel, 6-4, 6-1. Azarenka winning in straight sets with the dropping just one game against Podoroska. That was comfortable for her. Vukic, by the way, back on the men's side, prevailing in 5 sets over, sorry, I apologize. Brandon Holt prevailing in 5 sets over Vukic. What do we think about Brandon Holt, the qualifier, who always seems to do well at slams, or at least it is 2 slams in a row? He prevailed and is into the second round, because that was a match that went over from the first round. On the first, or was it the second day? I think it was the second day. We had a lot of heat, so they had a couple of hours off. They come back to court on the second day. Then there's rain, so we had more delays. But most of those matches now are pretty much done, if not all of them. So we are now definitely on round 2, but for half the draw on round 3. Talking of round 3, Shapovalov is there, winning in straight sets. Much more comfortable for him in round 2 than it was in round 1. Mannarino, by the way, winning in 4 sets over Isner. Isner seemed to have a slight injury issue during the second set. He lost that second set, having won the first, unsurprisingly, I guess, on a tiebreak. But he loses out to Mannarino on a tiebreak in the second set and ultimately loses the match. How much was he hindered? Don't know. Perhaps you can enlighten us in the live chat. Zhu beating Teichmann in straight sets. Humbert winning the Battle of the French in straight sets as well over Richard Gasquet. Gasquet having a pretty good build-up, by the way, to this tournament. Bit of a disappointment to see him crash out in round 1 in under 2 hours. Her catch, by the way, was in an absolute blockbuster with Sonego. We had, on the live stream last night, we had Mario all over that match as he was seeing the swings and roundabouts, the ups and the downs for the pole, but also for Sonego. Sonego winning the first set. Her catch wins the second. You think things are looking good, but he soon goes down a double break early in the third set. However, he manages to get it back together, winning sets 4 and 5. Okay. Hurkacz now, by the way, I believe will play Shapovalov in the next round. So that is an interesting match that I'm sure you'll be looking forward to. Roberto Bautista Agut, straight sets, comfortable win for him over the Portuguese Sousa. So he's now safely into round two. Keep up at the back with your round twos and your round ones because we're all over the show. Ostapenko goes 3 in 3 sets in her round two match over Bondar. So she's now into round three as well. She is joined by Potapova and Rusevori on the men's side. Nishioka is through, as is Liu and Kudla. Any other names sticking out? The inform Lehechka continues his drive, and he is now safely into round three. Cressy, who we touched on, will be up against Runa today. His match carried over yesterday. Will that cost him? He was in 4 sets against the Spaniard Ramonos Villalobos. And by the way, Sebi Korda, very impressive. He goes down an early break, by the way, to Watanuki. 1-love, gets that break back, wins the first set easily, ekes out the second and third set, and Sebi Korda is through to the third round, where he's due to play Daniel Medvedev. Interesting that you have Medvedev in your fourth round and actually in the quarterfinal, Michael, because Medvedev's run over the next 2 or 3 matches is going to be very, very tricky. Korda will be his third round opponent, and I believe the quarterfinal will be Tiafoe or Khachanov. I suspect Tiafoe, but we'll see. Mo through. Futrovic, the muscle man. He wins in 4 sets. By the way, a very funny joke from Daniel Medvedev during his match or after his match that he won in straight sets over Millman. He was asked afterwards about how it was, and he said, I felt really good physically. I reminded myself of Marton Futrovic and that image that we have of him on the internet flexing his muscles. Cam Norrie, by the way, didn't find it easy, but he did prevail in 4 sets over Lestien, but he was a breakdown in the third set. Lestien was serving for that third set, could not close it out, and paid the price, with Cam Norrie winning in 4 sets. Any other big results? I would suggest Haddad Meyer's defeat in straight sets over Parisas Diaz, by the way, perhaps took the wind out of her sails, losing the tiebreak 13-11. Maybe that was crushing for her because in the second set, Parisas Diaz ran away with it 6-2. Laura Siegmund is through. She's into the second round as well, as is the Pole, Linette. And Griekspoor won the Battle of the Dutchman over on court 17 in straight sets. A nice amount of symmetry here. This match took place on the 18th of March. They played on the 18th of January. Botic won on the 18th of January. Griekspoor wins on the 18th. Botic won on the 18th of December. Griekspoor won on the 18th of January. And Griekspoor won 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. Vondrousova, by the way, was in a spot of bother, losing the first set to Alison Risk, but she prevails, and I have her winning her second round match against Ons Jabeur, I think. Talking of second round matches, let's get the schedule up on the screen for today. Let's get that schedule up for you so we can have a quick look. We're going to be covering, like I say, on the channel, the first couple of matches of the day. The first one on Rod Laver will be bringing to you Sabalenka against Rogers, but we will also be bringing you Davidovich Fokina in his match as well on the channel, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. That's Rod Laver and Margaret Court for you there, though, anyway. So, yeah. I'll go back to the live chat. I think Leylah Fernandez Garcia, by the way, is going to be a real blockbuster. That's something to look forward to as well. Okay, live chat alert. Let's have a quick look. Derek joining us from the Facebook. Make sure you hit that like button on Facebook. And if you are tuning in to us on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Feel free as well to give us a super chat, just like Dee did earlier on. So I put his comment up on the screen as a result. How are people feeling about Felix? Is he shaky or playing himself into form? I say shaky. What do you think? But Dee suggests otherwise, saying he came back like a champion yesterday. Cool. Okay. Let's have another look. I love Rusevori, but he's going to get stamped by Rublev. We will see. Let's have me. Shall we put me back on the big screen and let's have a quick look. Yeah, so we've got Davidovich Fokina also on at 1 a.m. So keep an eye on. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to us so you can see his match against Tommy Paul. That is very exciting. We'll be coming up with you on the channel in just an hour from now. We will cover that match, and we will also cover Shelby Rogers against Arina Sabalenka. 2 matches at 1 a.m. for you to tune into, both in 1 hour from now. I say 1 a.m., that's German time, midnight GMT, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for the love. Make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. I will play you out with a couple of little videos. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to like this video as well. Get in the comments below if you're watching this video retrospectively as well. But we still have a few questions that remain regarding this year's Australian Open. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.